What's up, dude?
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. It's how you can tell it's a Wednesday. You're tuning into Cannabis Legalization News. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to hit them likes and subscribe. The only way that we can really get out is if you tag people and, ask them to come on the show. We do our guests on Wednesday. No. Today's
Sundays.
Wednesday. We do the news. Sundays, we do the guests. We have new updates on cannabislegalizationnews.com that you can check out about if you do want to actually come on the show. We really appreciate all that. And the lead story for today, New Mexico.
New Mexico.
New Mexico is so hot right now. Opening weekend in New Mexico only sees how many millions? 4.5 millions of cannabis sold in New Mexico during the state's opening weekend.
Rumor on the street has it that a lot of that is from Texas.
Texas, nearly 70% of the sales figures were from recreational sales, according to the Cannabis Control Division. That's awesome. And then at least doubled their business, and we even had one of our stores to 10 times do what they normally do in a day on Friday. That's great.
Of course they did. I mean, now it's recreational. I mean, that's the whole pretense to legalization, right? Now you just go to the store. You don't have to go through hurdles.
Yeah. 35 legacy operators in the state, and regulators have issued more than 230 new industry business licenses so far. And we can help you out on that. I mean, there are actually regulations in effect in New Mexico. It's not you just apply and get a license. You need to have waste, and there's licenses stuff, and then you have to have security. Transportation of cannabis, recall of cannabis. They have regulations. It's just that this is only 43 pages of regulations. Here's your security regulation. It starts right there, and it's over in how many pages? 1.5 pages. And then there's your lighting regulation right there. So there are regulations your configuration is going to have to comply with, but it's fairly straightforward. And we have a new plan for you over at cannabisindustrylawyer.com. The New Mexico Cannabis License Package. If it's a single member LLC, that's 3 large. If it's a multi-member, then we do 5. But I'm stoked on New Mexico. It seems like a great launch to a state.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's great that all these southern states, and if Texas turns purple with Beto, then, man, that could just...
Well, I really like the pivot away from the limited market states like you've seen out on the East Coast, and then also in Illinois or in Missouri or Arkansas. And Georgia is a terrible example of a limited market state for medical. And then Florida is a terrible example of a limited market state as well. But this opening of markets in the South, and then hopefully coming online in Mississippi, I hope more and more states are looking at what New Mexico is going to do and how many small entrepreneurial businesses could be opened. Start with a large number. Everybody knows that consolidation happens in over time in a market.
Yeah.
So start with a lot of small producers and then let them all consolidate over the next 20 years.
Dude, I don't know if you saw my post, but I just I visited one of the last medical markets the other day, and talking to the guy, because I was just thinking, man, it was pretty awesome. It's still where you can buy clones. I can buy plants. Tall 4-footers were selling for almost 100.
Wow,
and then,
that's basically ready to flip. So you're talking about 4 foot vegged out. That's good.
Well, they didn't have buds yet, but they were just nice and healthy. Tall boys waiting, and then they had little ones, clones. But my point being in early Washington State, it was it was a capitalist market, right? It was what a fair market should be. And then, of course, recreational happened. But to see that competition and that quality of cannabis, to have some again that I tried the other day, there is a big difference still. What I paid for 170 for an ounce, or would have paid, it probably would have gone for 230 in recreational, just because of taxes. And so it's not a fair structure, but yet still, if we can just have that openness about it, true capitalism prevail where it's not monopolized.
That's real social. Like everybody who does an application in New Mexico, you need a social and economic equity plan. Everybody needs it, and everybody can get a license. And anybody, you don't just need $9 million like you need for the smallest cultivation license in the state of Illinois. You can get open and do 200 plants. It was a 100 plant license, but they doubled it because of the demand that they have. And if you guys are all about New Mexico, do visit us over at facebook.com/free THC. We have hundreds of thousands of people that follow that. We're actually broadcasting live on it right now, so thumbs up if you're checking us out on Facebook. But yeah, man, it's really, I'm impressed by this state, by New Mexico.
What was it? 15 million in one day?
No, it was 5. It was about 4.5, 5 million. Okay. But the stores aren't open yet. A lot of licenses have been issued. There's not that many actual providers that were already ready to go when it went from medical to recreational. It just 35 is what the story said. So as a result, that's just opening weekend. I think that this will be, there's already 230 new licenses hit, and those are going to start getting open, unlike the 185 dispensary licenses in Illinois that are just stuck in court forever.
I mean, when they say regulate cannabis like alcohol, what they mean is pretty much like how many licenses they limit per alcohol, right? There's a fair market out there, and eventually there is like this alcohol mafia, right? Anheuser-Busch, they have distributions throughout whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think that the fair competition is still out there for alcohol. Why can't it be for cannabis? Which, it's not like homegrown, man. Homegrows don't ruin, they're not going to take out the dispensaries, just like home brew hasn't taken out bars and big beer.
Right. And they aren't going to. It's different lanes. It's a different product. It's going to be a different license. Your retail license, like when you're at a ball game or when you go to Walgreens to buy that type of retail, is different than your liquor license if you are opening up a bar where you're going to have live service of the alcohol. But it's great news, and let's move on to the next one. We do have some stocks. What's up, everybody? Cannabis industry lawyer Tom Howard here with a little bit of cannabis business stuff. This is an industry, and if you've been in it, thumbs up, subscribes, congratulations, good luck in there. And you're going to want your contracts to be, you need teeth, and so there's going to be a lot of things said to you. People will talk and talk and talk and say things and make promises. And then what do? Well, you always try to get it in writing right thereafter. So after you've hung up the phone with the investor that's going to totally help you make on this deal, great. Send him an email and confirm all the tenets of which he's just said. See if you get an email back. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. But you're always trying to not just be led a whole bunch of smoke. And one way to do that is to try to confirm it in writing. And if you're not going to get it in writing, probably should kind of read the tea leaves on that, as might have been all talk, all hat, nothing really there. But then the other thing is, as you get toward that being in writing, one of the elements that you should put in that contract is called an integration clause. And that will operate that all these other things that people will say to get you to sign things, to get you to move forward, to do something, those aren't actual terms in the deal that you now have, because this integration clause will be like, there are no oral modifications. Anything that we are going to have is in this contract now, and we have to agree in writing to make any material changes. Hence, why you follow up with those emails later after something's gone wrong on this contract. You're trying to create new evidence. That's some out of cannabis business information for you. And if you want more of it, of course, go on over to cannabisindustrylawyer.com and fill out the form, or give us a call. There's a phone number that you can go to there as well.
So in the build-up, those emails are they legally binding documents where, like, in the conversation, I say, hey, this is my requirements, this is what I meet, and then they reply back with just a simple yes, then all of a sudden that's obligation to what I required, right?
Not necessarily, but it depends. You see, are you operating as a business record, or are you operating as a personal call? And so somewhere along the line, you are not acting as you. You are acting as a member or a shareholder that has duties, obligations to the best interest of the company. And then that means that can be a business record, which would be admissible as evidence. Now, of course, they are going to... Discovery and litigation is a very fun dance that's expensive and nobody really understands unless they're a litigator. either way, I'll do more litigation ones of these where we'll explain aspects of litigation, like how long have you been suing? Where are you in that process? But this is just one of those. If it's not in writing, and somebody said something, and you want to like get that in writing as quickly as you can,
Sure. So no pinky promises.
There are no pinky promises in this industry, and the handshakes are not worth the person you're shaking hands with. But it's a fast-moving industry that's quickly becoming legal, especially in New Mexico.
Yeah, no, and again, this is the part of regulation, the part of legalization that nobody really wants to talk about, because it gets kind of dirty in the background with business-wise when it comes to like any business, whether I open a restaurant or there's going to be legal protections and different securities involved.
Mm-hmm. Yo. Sometimes I miss the trains for over to that because like you get very there's so many overlays that we have.
I'm just gonna go hot box here in a minute.
Nice.